All right, so these are my NBA playoff power rankings as well as my end of season power rankings. So I'm going to go over the 20 playoff teams, counting the extra playing teams as well, and rank them based off how good I feel about them going into the postseason. And then at the end of the video, we will very briefly go over my end of season power rankings, ranking all 30 teams, basically as if there were still more regular season games to be played. But starting off here, we are going to look over our injuries. These are any injuries of playoff teams, right, that are important. Right? So the Bulls potentially without Trey Jones for the play-in, and most of the other stuff. Like, you guys can look at this yourself. I don't want to waste too much of your time, but this is any injury to note for any of the 20 teams that are still playing. At number 20, we have the Chicago Bulls. I definitely think they're the worst team in the Eastern Conference, even though they're the 9 seed, and they're definitely worse than the bottom Western Conference playoff teams. I don't really think that's up for debate much. At number 19 is going to be the Dallas Mavericks. They're 39-43, same record there as the Bulls. I think they're a little bit better. Anthony Davis is obviously better than any player on that Bulls team, so that's kind of why I have them ranked a little bit higher. Number 18 is the Miami Heat. So I think they're a little bit better than the Bulls, mostly because I trust them with their star power. Tyler Hero, Bam Adebayo have plenty of playoff experience, and their coaching has plenty of experience, right, with Erik Spoelstra in the playoffs. So because of the Heat culture and the experience there, I have them ranked a little bit higher than some of these other teams below them. Number 17 is the Atlanta Hawks. I feel decent about them in the playoffs here. Like, for the play-in at least, I don't feel great about them against any of the Western Conference teams, though. So that's why they're still ranked lower than some of the teams in the West. Number 16 is going to be the Sacramento Kings, so the last play-in team in the Western, or the next play-in team in the Western Conference. Sorry, at the 9th seed. I definitely think they're better than those bottom Eastern Conference teams. I mean, they got a solid big three of DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Domantas Sabonis. So definitely, I think, have a better shot of making some noise. And this is not necessarily, I don't necessarily think the Kings have a better chance of making it out of the play-in than the Atlanta Hawks, but if they were on an even playing field, like if the Sacramento Kings were in the Eastern Conference play-in, I would definitely have them have a better chance over the Atlanta Hawks. 15 is the Orlando Magic. So Paolo Banchero is really good. Franz Wagner is really good, right? This team was in the playoffs a year ago. I think they're decent, but they're definitely not better than any non-play-in team. Number 14, Detroit Pistons. So the worst of the actual top 6 seeds in either conference. They have no playoff experience with the majority of this roster, right? Very young, and that is the main reason why they are going to be down here at 14. You could definitely make an argument of them being a little bit higher, but there's definitely some lower-seeded Western Conference teams who have a lot more playoff experience and just simply have a better record than this Detroit Pistons team, even though they are a 6 seed. Number 13 is going to be an example of that in the Memphis Grizzlies. They're an 8 seed. This team has more playoff experience than the Pistons. They have 4 more wins than the Pistons, even though they're 2 seeds lower. It's just kind of how stacked the Western Conference is. I definitely believe in the Memphis Grizzlies. If they were in the Eastern Conference, they'd be the 5 seed. So I definitely believe in them over a lot of those Eastern Conference teams. Number 12 is going to be the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't believe in them as much as I would have, obviously, if they had Damian Lillard on their team, but we don't know exactly when he's going to be playing. He's injured indefinitely with blood clots, so I suppose there's a chance he returns at some point in the playoffs, but likely not for round 1, and I don't feel great about them getting out of round 1 without Damian Lillard. Number 11 is going to be the Indiana Pacers, so they made the Eastern Conference Finals a year ago, so I do like them a decent amount, but there's still a lot of Western Conference teams that I would take over them, right? They're only 2 games better than the 8 seed in the West, right? So there's still a lot of those Western Conference teams, even though they're seeded quite a bit lower, they're still right there record-wise, and I definitely would believe in a lot of those Western Conference teams over the Indiana Pacers if they had to play each other in a 7-game series. Number 10 is going to be the Denver Nuggets. So, even though they're the 4th seed, I still have them lower than a few of those Western Conference teams, mostly because their coaching changed this close to the end of the regular season. Not ideal. Also, their bench is pretty bad. Outside of, I guess Russell Westbrook's good off the bench, but he's had his moments, at least you can say that. So I don't feel great about the Denver Nuggets going into this postseason. Number 9 is the Golden State Warriors. Are 3 seeds lower than the Nuggets, but they've been really good since the All-Star break. Since they got Jimmy Butler, they've been a completely different team. And Jimmy Butler is usually a different type of breed come playoff time. Add that to just, of course, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green and this Warriors culture with Steve Kerr. I feel like they're going to be a pretty sneaky good team here in the Western Conference. Number 8, Minnesota Timberwolves. They're a 6th seed, but I really think they're good. They went to the Western Conference Finals, I believe, a year ago, right? And they have pretty much the exact same roster. I have Dante DiVincenzo on this team. They obviously don't have Cat. They have Julius Randle instead, but they still have a lot of that core foundation, which I think is definitely going to be good enough to potentially go on a little bit of a run here. So I do have them up here at number 8. First going to be the Houston Rockets. Definitely a little bit low considering their seeding, but they're also a very young team with pretty much no playoff experience. Anyone outside of Fred VanVleet and a Jeff Green, I'm not even sure if anyone else has made a postseason on this team. So I don't feel good about this team. I don't feel great about this. 7 is still pretty good, but just being a 2 seed, I really don't feel good. I don't feel as good as I should for them being a 2 seed, I guess what I'm trying to say. Number 6, I have the New York Knicks. So 3 seed in the East, so that equates to being around the 6th spot here, right? Math checks out. I think Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns is going to be a really good playoff duo. I think they have pretty good depth as well. They should definitely be, a really good team here in the postseason. 5, Los Angeles Clippers. They are the 5 seed, so definitely a little bit overrated based on their seeding. But again, since the All-Star break, they've been doing really good since they got Kawhi healthy, and he's been staying healthy ever since he actually started playing this year. If this team can stay healthy, they're going to be an absolute monster in this postseason. I could definitely see them making a conference finals or even an NBA finals run, in all honesty, if they can stay healthy. Number 4 is Los Angeles Lakers. Similar story to them. Ever since they got Luka Doncic, they've been a different breed. They were still doing pretty good with Anthony Davis, but since they traded for Luka Doncic, they've been doing even better. They have solid depth as well. On this roster, only one thing to note is that obviously their center position isn't the best. Jackson Hayes has been a decent starting center, but for any backup center minutes, you're relying on Alex Len or a Christian Koloko type of guy, or just sliding Jared Vanderbilt to the 5, which not the best option. So if they do happen to get exposed at the center position in this postseason, that's basically going to be their only flaw. Number 3 is going to be the Boston Celtics. So the top 3, I feel like you could argue the order a little bit, but it is 100% definitively the top 3 in my opinion. Right, Boston at number 3. They're one of 3 60-win teams, so they can't really go any lower than 3. Obviously, won the finals last year, have pretty much the exact same roster, so definitely a top 3 team here. Number 2 will be the Cleveland Cavaliers. They split the season series with Boston 2-2. They have a better record, they're better seeding, right? So you could definitely argue Boston over Cleveland just because of last year's postseason history with Boston winning it all, but I think I would take Cleveland over Boston just by a little bit. I think Donovan Mitchell usually does really well in the postseason as long as they can stay healthy, which Cavaliers have had a history of not being healthy in the postseason, but so far everything seems to be going well for now, so they can continue to stay healthy. I feel like this team's definitely the team to beat in the Eastern Conference. Number 1, of course, is going to be the Oklahoma City Thunder. Number 1 seed in the entire NBA. 68 wins is phenomenal. They've had some injury issues this year to deal with as well, but currently don't have any injuries to note. Right, Chet Holmgren's only played like 30 games all year. Right, so if he would have been playing 60, 70 games this year, this team easily could have been a 70-win team. Maybe even potentially be challenging that Golden State Warriors record of 73 wins if this team was entirely healthy all season long. But obviously they weren't, but I still definitely think this team is going to be the team to beat. They should be the outright title favorites right now, in the NBA, but definitely aren't going to have a very easy schedule going up against a loaded Western Conference. Now looking at the standings here, there's not too much. I've already kind of shown you everything you need to know, but if you want to look at this, it's right here. But I'll be moving on from there. Now we're going to go top performances of this week. So this is the part I'm going to go over the top performances and then the regular season, end of season power ranking. So if you don't really care about that, you can just click off the video. But This is essentially what you got. Here's the top performances, so you can look at that. And then we're going to do this pretty quickly. So I got the Hornets at number 30, the Pelicans at 29, Jazz at 28, Wizards at 27, the Sixers at 26, the Nets at 25, the Raptors at 24, the Spurs at 23, the Suns at 22, the Blazers at 21, the Heat at number 20, the Mavs at number 19, the Kings at number 18, number 17 is the Hawks, the Bulls at 16, 15 is the Pistons, 14 is the Grizzlies, 13 is the Magic, 12 is the Knicks, 11 is the Warriors, 10 is the Pacers, 9 is the Rockets, 8 is the Timberwolves, 7 is the Bucks, 6 is the Lakers, 5 is the Nuggets, 4 is the Clippers, 3 is the Cavs, 2 is the Celtics, and 1 is the Thunder. That's going to be it for the video. Thank you for watching. Make sure to check back later this week for my official NBA playoff predictions, and goodbye.